Alright, we are back at it one more time for Texas 2A video. Again, I'm trying to cover specifically the KS47. I know a lot of guys, I say a lot. I understand there's not a ton of us that have these, but there's a plenty. There's guys that either think they're junk because you're using the 556 bolt that's been opened up to accept 762x39 carries and, you know, cause weak extractor issues, whatever. I haven't had one break yet. Let's see if I can't break one today. But until then, we're going to talk about those of us that do have them and the guys that do want them. And then I see the comment of, hey, can you put an echo or binary trigger inside of a KS47? I do not have any experience with the BSF3 binary system, all right, that utilizes its own buffer and its own spring, and it's pretty much a mil-spec looking trigger. The reason I've never utilized it is because I prefer the way the echo is designed specifically for the disconnector. As I mentioned in my last video, if you happen to see it, some of y'all are watching my stuff because you enjoy what I got to say. Some of y'all are looking at one thing, checking out another, and they're like, oh, this guy might be talking about something else I'm interested in. So you'll see me skip around on things from video to video, and I've already covered that. This right here is the disconnector that requires, if you've already seen it, this is the full auto bolt right here. Whenever this thing is this long in this area from here to here, that right there is what comes forward and disconnects this, allows our hammer to drop, all right? So that's its job. If you've already looked into the Echo Trigger and Echo Sport, you already know this. Whoever you watched covered it, okay? Now, this thing, for this system, I had to do some modifications, and I did mention in the last video, I've got with fostech, and I asked them, I said, hey, I was like, send them a picture of it. I said, see how close this switch is. I was like, this switch won't roll. You have to pull the trigger, then roll the switch. I had to do some grinding. I didn't care, you know. Didn't bother me at all to make this work because I wanted to try it. I've never tried to make an Echo 2 work inside of a KS47 yet. Although I've heard that where it drops in, you can try to probably paint the spring for the mag release up underneath there. You can paint it, set the trigger in, see where it touches, make a groove. It gives that spring leg a home, so that way it can fit. I've never tried that. Those are, you know, twice the price of this generally, so it's hard to want to buy one of those and do that. I just had no desire. But this, was it Classic Firearms? They ran for like $220 or $230. I was like, hey, let me get one reviewed for the channel. It shows up. I'm like, hey, what do I put it in? I'm like, well, I guess I'll throw it inside of a KS47 because guys want to know, and people are always asking. So it's kind of my civic duty here to give you guys an idea of what goes on with it and how it works, if it works. So all I had to do though was keep grinding on this here selector switch, move it over again. I kept having to go back and forth, installing it, removing it. My problem I was having, I kept going until I got this guy here to where I could release and it would actually reset. Once that resets, as you can see, you come back, that gap closes and it resets. So you see I don't have a lot of room there for a reset, but I did it the other way. Same thing, come back, and there's not a ton of room. But it works. So, you know, I just kept going until I made it to where I was like, all right, I'm satisfactory with this thing. This thing will do what I want it to do. Now, I do want to see if I can come up with a drill it, tap it, put a small little ball on there and trim it back more so I can select back and forth without ever touching the actual trigger as far as moving it front to back. That'd be great. I'll do that. I'll submit it to fostech, see if they can either A, make a trigger with that on it, because maybe some AR-15 mil-spec lower users will want that as well. And for guys like us that have a thing for stupid weapons that don't make sense to some people, we like cheap 30 cal, we like being able to use the AK magazines, you know, there's a lot of pluses to these things. So, you know, hopefully some guys out there can use this video and say, okay, I can do that if I feel like buying $200 some odd trigger and grinding on it. If not, you know, like I said, when I come up with this drill, tap, set in this ball, grind the backside, if I can clear it and make it clear without that, I will post a video of it. Little small short update just so people can see and say, hey, you know, I got some tools, tap and die, I'm not scared to get my hands dirty, they'll make it happen. So for there, you know, from there I will go ahead and submit that to fostech and see if it's an idea they like it or hate it, if they haven't already thought of it. If not, people can say, okay, I can do this myself. So either way, it's going to be a positive for some guys. Now I will say this trigger, I do not like it as well as I like the Echo 2 because this trigger is very mil-spec. This trigger to me seems rougher than the trigger that came in it, which was the PSA enhanced, you know, which I think pulled 6.5 pounds. This thing was pulling 7.2, somewhere in there, so she's on the rough side. But other than that, the way I've done this and cut it back the way I did to make that work, it's right there. There's like no take up, so it's kind of an accident that it works pretty well. Hold the trigger, switch to the other side while I've got a round in it, and I can go stupid. Alright, I finished off the mag. She's empty and she's clear. Alright. So as you can tell, that's not the best way to do it, but it is possible. This is going to be, in my book, your cheapest way to get an echo trigger in if you're okay with a little bit of modification. So, it doesn't bother me. So, see if I can run one out, just because we're on film, we're having fun. Why not? Some people enjoy watching us waste money on stuff being, live vicariously through others, right? Alright. And she is empty. 30 rounds, no damn bump stock. So, like I said, it works. I'm very happy with it so far. Today is the first day I've tested it, so I came out here, was ready to say, okay, if this is going to give me issues, give me problems. The Echo 2 that I have in the 556 required some tuning. I did have to actually go from a carbine buffer to an H1. When I tried it in a full-size 18-inch Palmetto State Armory 223 upper, that one, actually, the H1 buffer, I went straight to it thinking, all right, I got this. I know I needed an H1. Not every weapon's the same. Some of them require tuning. So a lot of you guys out there that are like, oh man, I seen such and such as a piece of crap, it wouldn't cycle. You don't know if they just bought an upper and lower, strapped it together, won't run right because it's not tuned. You can compensate for your gas hole in the barrel being too small or too big. There's ways to tune around that. There's right and wrong, but making something dependable can be a tuning issue. I had to literally go back to the carbine buffer in order to get that thing to kick 223 out of that 556, and it worked freaking great after that. I was getting tons of hammer follow with it before. I'm sorry, it was felony eject. I was getting hammer follow with the pistol with the carbine buffer. This, I left the H1 in it. It's what comes in it. It's how they designed their KS47 16-inch. It's flawless so far. I think the last video I filmed was the first time pulling the trigger on it on film. I was using, I think, a 40 rounder, and I think I had a one hammer follow, I believe. That's not too bad. I mean, you can probably get these things, tune them to where they are literally perfect and you can't run it. Some guys say that they have, but some of us are faster than others. I mean, yes, we are not all created equal. Some of us are able to pull the trigger exponentially quicker. I probably consider myself a little above average, because I see guys single fire pull up and they're just lightning quick on a trigger. I'm just like, wow, I can't do that. So, take that in mind. If you're an average or below as far as trigger pull, you probably won't be able to outrun one of these. But if you want to see that, hey, will this thing work in a KS47? Yes it will, if you don't mind a little bit of work, or get one of your buddies that does know how to. So she's getting warm already, but I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can run 40 rounds through it. Why not? What is that? Did I break an extractor finally? Uh-oh, there it is. All the shit I've talked forever about, I have never ever once broken a Palmetto State Armory bolt carrier, nothing. Literally right now on the way out the door today, I said to myself, you know what? I'm gonna bring my extra extractor with me, and in case I break my extractor, because I'm running this thing hard and fast today, I'll have it with me. I didn't bring it with me, but I broke the extractor. And if you want to know the funny part about this extractor, I installed this particular extractor after I had issues that in an earlier video, probably a month and a half, 2 months ago. You can see I actually had my rear sight was causing shells to bounce back into the damn chamber. All right, I didn't know that's what it was. I swapped this extractor. This is a KAK extractor, not PSA. The PSA is still in the bag that the KAK came in, and that's what's just got destroyed right now. I have no idea if I'm going to be able to pull it out and let it be in pieces, but look at that thing. It's still sitting on top of the bolt, or the actual extractor itself, the piece that's coming apart. So, with my luck, I'm going to be able to get that out of there so we can see it. But literally told myself to bring that thing, and I didn't, just so I could keep going if this happened. I told myself I'm being pretty silly. There might be a chance that I could end up screwing this thing up. Is it not allowing? I think it's not allowing the damn bolt to close all the way. That sucks. All right, there it goes. It fell. All right. Dang it, boy. Yeah, there's the spent shell still in there, and that's causing me grief. Not be able to allow this thing to close all the way, because I wanted to keep that piece that broke off. I don't think I'm going to get through. Yeah, there it goes, I think. Nope. Yeah, she's jammed up, so I don't have to figure that out. Best part is, I got this trigger in here to where it's kind of in between wanting to let it go and it's not. So, well, there you have it. Does it work? Yes. Will it possibly break your extractor because you're beating the snot out of this thing? It very well might. So I guess what I'm going to do is probably end up replacing it with the other one that I've got and run it some more. But right now, out of 7 different 762x39 bolt carrier groups chambered for 762x39 running a steel case, I've never broke one till today, and I'll be damned if it isn't not even the one that came with the damn Palmetto State Armory bolt carrier group. It is the KAK, and I will say the KAK sitting right next to the PSA side by side, I can't tell the difference. So either KAK makes them or whoever makes them for KAK also makes them for PSA. I'm glad I got a spare at the house to replace this, but this is still just like, wow. What was the chances of me telling myself I'm going to bring this in case it breaks today, broke on film? I'd rather it break on film than just talk about it. So, like I said, you can make the Echo Sport work, but you might trash your bolt carrier group. I don't know. So yeah, this is the first one I've ever had an issue with. I can still say it wasn't a PSA that failed me, so, and it probably would have. They look identical, so I mean, I can't go and say that it's bound to happen with KAK more than it would be a PSA, because like I said, side by side, I'm going to say the company that makes one makes it for the other, because I could find no differences physically in either one of those. But, all right, I guess that ends the fun. Just going to do a couple more mag dumps, and I had at least one more 40 rounder to run out for y'all. So now you know it will work. But, you know, here you go, live on camera. Got to catch the issue here, and I'm really disappointed I couldn't pull that bolt off and have that part of the extractor hanging off of it, because that would have just been for a cool picture. I'd have knocked it off trying to jam it back in there. So, all right. Till next time, I'm going to shut it down, and we'll be covering the Palmetto State Armory 3.5 pound drop-in trigger next. So that completes it for this one. We'll see y'all next time.